and welcome back to this month's Halloween special. So I'm going to do a book review today. Now, I haven't done a book review for a very long time, since the beginning of this year, or was it the end of last year? I can't remember. But I've been reading a lot of like horror, ghosty story kind of things, dark stories, so I thought I would update you on those. Loki has suddenly decided that now is when he wants his fuss. So we're going to go through very, very quickly on these and my personal opinions on them, and then I can put them away for the first time ever in ages. Right, so this is actually an anthology. It's called Ghost: 100 Stories to Read with the Lights On, chosen by Louise Welsh. It's published by Head of Zeus, which then has an owl. And yeah, it has 100 stories in it. I bought this simply because I was in the works, and this is a beautiful, like, it's a lovely book. It's like nicely made and all that kind of stuff. I have ended up using it for arts and crafts, unfortunately, because it's a nice big heavy book, so the actual back panel has become a bit yeah. However, I have a problem with this book. Okay. There is 100 ghost stories in here, and I only got through about 50 of them before I couldn't do it anymore. I like old horror stories. I love H.P. Lovecraft. I love Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that. The thing is, the lady has taken some of these stories back from the early 1800s. So let's see if we can find the earliest one in here. One is even from Pliny the Younger. AD 99. And it's 1759 is the earliest modern one. But the problem is she's chosen a lot from early time periods, and they're ones that are written in the exact, like, the way that the people would speak. So let's see. I'm trying to remember. Where is it? Nope, I can't find it. Basically, there's quite a few of them in there that are written with old dialects and stuff like that, and there's no bother to translation or anything like that, and it makes it. Kitty, I love you, but Mummy's trying to work. It makes it really hard to read, and I wasn't afraid because I was too busy trying to figure out what was being said. Now, I maybe should give the rest of this a chance and read the other ones, but I don't know, I got halfway through the book and was just like, no, I can't do this anymore. And if you could have arranged it better, I probably wouldn't have minded, and I would have kept reading, but it was all the really hard to get through ones right at the beginning. And I wasn't afraid, and I wasn't, even interested at any point, and just was like, nothing about this is scary, and I put the book down. So, not a great book, anthology to really start off with. I do highly recommend, if you ever decide to put one of these together, mix and match and mix it up a bit more. Don't just do it in time period from point A to point B, because I couldn't get through it. If I'd had a bit more mixed up stuff, I probably would have liked that one. Next book. I have been reading quite a lot of true crime books recently. And this one is An A to Z of Evil Deeds by Charlotte Grieg. And there are actually quite a few in here that I hadn't heard about. These are not set in alphabetical order either. Oh no, they are set in alphabetical order, but they're not set in time order. So you've got things like Hit and Run, which is a particularly violent hit and run spate, which turns out that just someone was a drunk driver. Doesn't, however, really enter into war crimes, but each crime has a couple of pages about what happened, so that you can actually go in, and then at the end of each section there is a go and read this book to get more about this. And it's not just all written by this lady here either. It was a really quick, nice, informative read that gave me some more books to actually go and look at. And because it's been a while since I read this, I couldn't tell you any off the top of my head, but there were quite a few that I hadn't heard of in here. It's got general black and white pictures in here, some of which are hand drawn, but again I can't really find any. But yeah, this was a really fun little book to read, and I got through it ridiculously quickly, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And it's done by Arcturus Books. Also by Arcturus Books, moving on to the next one, is The Crimes of Jack the Ripper, The Whitechapel Murders Re-Examined, written by Paul Rowland. Now, I am a huge Jack the Ripper fan, in the fact that I love reading books about it. It's got some lovely prints in here. Oh, excuse me. And I love reading books about it, and stories and all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm really happy that I got this book. This book is the first one that I've ever read that tries very hard not to say, I think it was this person. It literally just presents you all of the kind of the evidence and goes, what do you think? We're never going to know. Who do you think did it? Now, I still think it was the the best person that I think fits it is Dr. Tumblety. Where's Dr. Tumblety? I think it's Dr. Tumblety. Yeah, Francis Tumblety. Because he fits. And also, that it does say in here why he was. Here we go. Although a psychopathia sexualis subject, he was not known as a sadist, which the murderer unquestionably was, but his feelings towards women were remarkable and bitter in the extreme, a fact on record. Tumblety was arrested at the time of the murders in connection with unnatural offences and charged at Marlborough Street. Remanded on bail, jumped his bail and got away to Bologna. He shortly left Bologna and was never heard of afterwards. It was believed he committed suicide, but certain it is that from this time the Ripper murders came to an end. But anyway, yeah, so it basically presents you with all of the information from like what the actual myth of Jack the Ripper is, to the economic and just society, what it was like at the time of Jack the Ripper's work, which again I'm showing you that picture because it goes there a lot, that page. It tells you like what Whitechapel was like, and this is even before you get into the Rippers like bits. This is just like how people slept in case they died in their sleep, and I thought that was quite interesting. And then it goes into the actual case books, and it even mentions how Elizabeth Stride may not have actually been a Ripper murder, and I didn't know that one. So now having read this book, I can see the point that they make. So there's so much in this book that was really interesting. Now, we're returning to the dark Disney worlds. Now, there's a reason that I've picked these ones for today's video. And that is that they're all to do with slightly darker subject matter. Okay? A tale as old as time. A Twisted Tale. What if Belle's mother cursed the beast? And in this story, it is in France. The whole story, how to describe it? In France, in this world of this book, there were fairies, there were magical beings and people, and they lived alongside the normal humans, and they, you know, helped everybody, blessed the land and all that kind of stuff. But they were slowly being driven out by science, and magic was being changed into bad things and all that kind of stuff. And Belle's mother was one of the most powerful witches, pretty much witch, I think she was called, ever. And the king and queen of the land didn't want anything to do with the fairies and started to outlaw them. And this most powerful witch was called upon eventually, because everybody started getting sick, to bless their son, and she didn't. She cursed him instead, and then was taken away by the guy who runs the insane asylum. And it turns out he doesn't run the insane asylum, he's trying to turn fae and magical creatures into normal people. And it's really dark and really good. And Belle at one point ends up chained to a table, about to get dissected. And it's amazing. It's such a good book, and it was so dark. And when I say a twisted tale, it really was a twisted tale. I would not give this book to my kids to read, basically. So yeah, good dark book. Very, very dark turn on that. And then finally, again, now this one is sticking very much to the theories of afterlife, ghosts, spirits and stuff like that this time of the year represents, because it is What If Mulan Had to Travel to the Underworld, and it was called Reflection. A twisted tale. So in this story, when the Hun army is defeated by that firework, that's it, that's the end of the Hun army. Done, dusted. There's none of the rest of the film doesn't happen, okay? Mulan, Shang dies, and Mulan is requested by Shang's family spirits to go into the afterlife and bring him back to life. It's not his time to die, he feels, because Shang will just be reincarnated, and by doing that, he doesn't get a chance to keep his family's honour. So he's like, no, we're gonna fix this. So Mulan travels into the afterlife, which is Diu, and she has to face King Yama and go into the afterlife to save Shang and eventually, you know, get him back. It's all to do with spirits and ghosts and how she's a living woman. And yeah, the spirits are like, yeah, and her ancestors help her and all that kind of stuff. And it's awesome. It's a really good book. It's not at all anywhere near as dark as this one. This was ridiculously dark. This was a lovely book to read. I finished it in a day. It was so sweet and beautiful, but it is about the afterlife. So this one's a really refreshing read. It's a self-discovery, finding out that you can stand on your own 2 feet. You don't need to worry about what anyone else says or anything like that. And this is a really sweet book, and I really like this one. This one, however, is really dark and twisted and doesn't have a hugely happy ending. So if you like that kind of thing, this is the book for you. So there we go. 5 Halloween-y, creepy, horror type books for this time of year. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care and goodbye.